Welcome to Lesson 3, Increasing Student Engagement in Class Through Active Learning. In this lesson, we are going to learn about using Google Forms and Google Sheets. The purpose of formative assessment is to collect evidence and data as to how the students are understanding the material. We then use that evidence to form or change what we do next. Formative assessment can take many shapes, as observations, checks for understanding, asking questions, and quizzes. An excellent tool for formative assessment is Google Forms. Good formative assessment allows you to be quickly responsive to student needs. Google Forms gives data from students' tasks instantly after they press submit. Since all student answers are together in one spreadsheet, it is easy to quickly get a snapshot of how students are understanding. The advantage of Google Forms is the ability to quickly create a formative assessment, rapidly respond to data, and is stored in the Google Drive for easy access. In this lesson, you will create a simple Google form for feedback and assessment. We'll also explore Google Sheets and its basic features, and together we'll use Google Forms and Google Sheets for learning analytics to evaluate the assessments we create. You're encouraged to follow along this lesson with your own Google Tools suite. To do so, you may open a new browser window and start and stop this video at any time. At the end of this course, you will be asked to submit your quiz created through Google Forms. To create our Google Form quiz, we will first need to log in to our Google Drive. Once you have logged in, you will see in the top left corner to click on this New button. Down here we will select More, Google Forms, and here we have the option to form from a template or use a blank form. For this example, let's start from beginning with a new form. And now we have created our first Google form. First, we want you to title your form. And then we want to click on this Settings button on the top right corner. This is where we have some options in building our form. Google Forms has this third option for a quiz setting. And this is where we can change our simple form into a quiz. Select this option now so we can practice the auto-grading portion. There are several other settings options that you can explore after creating our first form. Now we are ready to create our questions. To start adding our quiz questions, we'll first click on this Add Question plus sign. In this drop-down menu, we'll see the types of question options that we have for our quiz. We have multiple choice, which will allow for one correct answer, checkboxes, which will allow for multiple selections, drop-down, which is another version of a single response answer, and then we have our short answer and paragraph, which are text entry fields. Let's start with the short answer question to add a name to the top of our quiz. I want to be sure to select the required answer at the bottom right corner. From this corner, you can also see where we can duplicate and delete our questions. That was easy. So let's say I'm going to give this introduction quiz to all of my class periods. This means I will want to have my respondents select which class period they are in. This will help with my analytics section later. For this, I'm going to create a new drop-down question. And then I can add my class periods here. From here I can move answer selections around. I can delete them, or I can keep adding more answer selections. Now let's add our first graded quiz question. Let's make this one a multiple choice. I will add all my response questions here. Now I can select this answer key to select the correct answer and assign point values. I can also add question feedback. And I can select this to add multimedia content or link to extra additional materials. Next, let's try a checkbox question. For this, I will list all the options I want my students to see, and then from the answer key, I will select all of the correct answers. And assign my point values. So now let's try adding a short answer question, but this time we're going to use the auto grading. Now with short answer questions, exact matches will be marked correct, and other responses will be marked later for grading. So you want to select a question that will be easily matched with exact answers. The question we selected has a lot of variations in its answer. This means I will have a lot more manual grading to do later. So I think I'm going to change my question around a little bit. If we add a paragraph type question, all of these questions are automatically marked for grading. Now we have an option here for description and response validation. A description will allow us to add some more text to the question type. And response validation will allow us to have a maximum or minimum character count. In this example, I'm going to select that they have a minimum character count, and so we'll not allow them to submit the quiz question without completing the minimum requirement. You can also set a maximum as well. I'll set this one for 200 characters, and then I will go back and make sure to select my points. For our last question type, we're going to choose this linear scale. This will allow us to select a survey type question. Now that our questions are completed, it's time to publish our quiz. Before we send our quiz out to students, we're going to want to preview it using this preview icon on the top right corner. This will open up our quiz in a new window, and it will display exactly as it will display to our students once we distribute it. We're going to want to use this preview to check our questions, make sure that they have point values assigned, that our answer key is correct, and that they display correctly. Take this time now to complete a preview response. We're going to use this response to check our Google Sheets and our analytics later. But as you're checking it, make sure that you have your point values assigned, that your correct answers are keyed in, and that you have any appropriate feedback for the student available. Part of our quiz settings allow for students to see their score immediately after submission. Here they will see what the correct answers were, any feedback we relayed for them, their total point score. Any question set for manual grading, like our paragraph questions, will remain unscored and will be marked as incorrect until you have finished your grading. I can return back to my form to make any changes I would like. Once I feel satisfied, I'm ready to send it out using the Send button. I can send it via email, I can add collaborators, but for now I'm going to use this link to send out to my students. For your example, copy this link. This is the link you will submit in your assignments. A great feature of using Google Forms is that you can receive live feedback and responses. The Google tool will allow you to analyze your assessment and give real insight into your students' learning. So from the Google Form quiz, we can see overall quiz results, including questions that are frequently missed or could have errors. We can see question summaries, which can help you determine which questions are giving students the most issues. If you recall, we have that free response option that needs grading. So we can assign scores to those responses, as well as modify scored points from here. And we can also look at individual student responses. We can take a look at these insights through both Google Form response pages and through Google Sheets. We're going to hop into both of these now. Okay, back to Google Forms, we'll see that because we have completed our preview, we have at least one response loaded here in this Responses tab at the top. If we click on that, that will show us our summary, question, and individual responses. From our summary, we can see the mean, median scores, the range, and a graphical breakdown of all of our answers. Next, if we click on the Question tab, we'll see all the responses for a single question. We can click forward here to our text responses, where we can score and modify. We save our responses. So for instance, in our essay, we can assign various points. Finally, we can look at the Individual tab. This will show us all of the responses for one particular student. If we want to manipulate this data further, we will want to put it into a spreadsheet. And for that, we're going to use this icon to create a new Google Sheet. This will create a brand new spreadsheet that will correspond with my responses. So now this has created a brand new Introduction Quiz Responses spreadsheet that will populate within my Google Drive. Here I have in each column a timestamp, the final score, and the submissions for all of my questions. Google Sheets has many of the same functions as Microsoft Excel or other spreadsheet software. There are many tools to explore. We'll cover a few now. At the top I have all my column headings with my question titles. If you recall, I wanted to sort by my class periods. So if I want to use the Sort tool, I will select my column and select Filter. From here, I will select I want to see just my second period students. can turn off the filter the same way. Another tool to be familiar with is the sorting. By default, all of these submissions will come in date order by their timestamp. Let's say I want to sort them in alphabetical order. I'll go to Data, Sort by Column, and then they will remain in alphabetical order. Finally, we can apply formulas to our spreadsheet. In this example, let's say we want to find the average score for our class. The Google form combined with the Google Sheet allows for immediate feedback and learning analytics. This will give you valuable formative learning information. From using both the Google Forms and Google Sheets can increase efficiency and also add some fun technology to your classroom. There are many other functions to using Google Forms and Google Sheets for education. Begin exploring the best uses for your classroom. For this assignment, be sure to submit your example of the Google form and the assignment function through their course site.